To give our Elston Brooks Lifetime Achievement Award. Oh, you're there. Okay, good. Again, for the third time, because he feels he's that important, Managing Director of the Trinity Shakespeare Festival, Harry Parker.
And Todd, you have done an awesome job, but this is the last damn award, and I have a few things to say. So don't you be inching out here with that creeper business. Stay back. Don't start. Everyone loves David Coffey. Even if you've never met him, and I'm not sure there's anybody in this room that hasn't met him, you surely love his work on stage. He's one of the best actors anywhere, not just in Tarrant County. They know this in Boston, where the North Shore Music Theater gave him a tribute evening in 2007, celebrating his 40 productions there over 15 seasons, and where he won an Ernie Award, that's Independent Reviewers of New England, for his Pellinore in Camelot at Boston's Shubert Theater. They know how good he is over in Dallas, where he wins awards for his work in cabaret at Dallas Theater Center. Clearly the word's out all over DFW. He's gotten awards from the DFW Critics Forum, Alexandra Bonifield Critical Rant, the Best Actor by readers of Fort Worth Weekly. You know, it's just about time that the Live Theater League caught up with the rest of the world and acknowledged that we love David Coffey too. Now, David is a Tarrant County boy, raised and still living in beautiful Arlington, Texas. Little Chamber of Commerce plug there. His theatrical debut was at Casa Manana Playhouse in 1968 in The Wind and the Willows, where he played, wait for it, Portly Otter. It's perfect casting. Yes. Sharon Benge was the head of the Playhouse. Johnny Simons directed. And the cast included John Gaston, Jim Covalt, Steve Garrett, and Vicki Fallis. This guy's been around in Tarrant County. David is a proud TCU alumnus twice. As an undergrad, he appeared in only about 18 shows. He graduated as the senior scholar in theater with departmental honors and a BFA cum laude in theater. As a grad student at TCU, he got his MFA in acting, and he acted in 6 more major productions. He taught acting. He even directed on Golden Pond at TCU as a grad student with a cast that featured Henry Hammock, Galen Collier, and Bill Newberry. Yeah. Kind of wish you could get in the time machine and see that, don't you? Yeah. He toured with TCU productions of The Tempest and The Merry Wives of Windsor to the Globe Theater in Odessa, Texas, and maybe it's time to put on that Falstaff fat suit again. What do you think, David? Just about time. In 1977, David was a member of the first company of TCU interns at the Granbury Opera House, where he performed in 49 shows over a 25-year span. After graduate school, David toured nationally with Bill Fegan attractions in the 1940s Radio Hour, A Christmas Carol, and Annie Get Your Gun. He spent 7 years and did 16 tours as the professor, that is the conductor, of Mr. Jack Daniel's original Silver Cornet Band, with gigs including the Bohemian Club in San Francisco, the International Casino in Atlantic City, the Newport Music Festival, and the New Orleans Jazz Festival, and he was paid only in Jack Daniels. For Casa Manana, David has appeared, now are you ready for the numbers? For Casa Manana, David has appeared in 77 productions. Over God, why did we wait so long? 77 productions over 43 years, and worked with stars at Casa Manana such as Betty Buckley, Anna Maria Alberghetti, Sid Charisse, Kathy Rigby, Georgia Engel, Ruta Lee, Lorenzo Lamas, and Sandy Duncan. A lot of people mistake David for Sandy Duncan. David Coffey has also worked at the Goodspeed Opera House, the American Musical Theater of San Jose, Portland Center Stage, Seacoast Repertory Theater, Stages St. Louis, Lyric Theater of Oklahoma and Lyric Stage in Irving, Circle Theater, Dallas Theater Center, and his portrayal of Scrooge in A Christmas Carol at the North Shore Music Theater in Boston for the past 18 years has made him a beloved New England tradition. He's been a member of the Trinity Shakespeare Festival at TCU every season since its inaugurational company, and he's appeared in every show, excelling in both comedy and tragedy. This summer, don't miss him as Falstaff, once again, in The Merry Wives of Windsor. So, David, everyone loves you, and we not only love you on stage, But we love you off stage too, because David is one of the most professional, most prepared, generous, and kind actors, and just frankly, people anywhere. His mom, Chris, and his dad, Winston, taught him well how to be a gentleman, a rare commodity in the theater and in the world. The Live Theater League's Lifetime Achievement Award is named for Elston Brooks, the marvelous longtime theater critic for the Fort Worth Star-Telegram, who was such an advocate for the theater and for the city, and it seems only fitting that upon hearing about this award this year, Elston's son, Brian Brooks, wrote David and asked him how it felt to know that there will be no more achievements in his lifetime. David, we know better. And our only stipulation in giving you this is that you are not allowed to retire for a long, long time. Here's David Coffey.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Sit down if you got your underwear straight. Thank you very much. Well, friends, it is after 7 o'clock, so I know if some of you have to be at rehearsal or places to go, please leave now, because I'm going to be here a few minutes. Anybody? Last chance? Okay. Thank you so much. First of all, I have to thank the Live Theater League, and I remember when the Live Theater League got started, and I remember when they first inaugurated this award, the Elston Brooks Award, and gave it to Bill Garber, and I thought, isn't that the neatest thing in the world? First of all, because I knew Elston and I knew Bill both. Elston was always very kind to me. He always gave me good reviews, and I guess if he didn't like me, he just didn't mention me, so he was very kind that way. And as Harry said, I got this email from David Brooks, and he was a student at TCU when I got there, and he actually coerced me into being in his directing studio, my very first thing I did at TCU. And the way he got me to do it is he said I got to kiss Kathy Deegan if I would do the scene. So I don't know what he said to Kathy Deegan to get her to do it, but I have a feeling it wasn't she could kiss David Coffey. But I have to say I'm very proud to see how the Theater League has grown over these years. I remember when a meeting of the Live Theater League basically meant Bill Garber and Mel Dacus were having lunch at Carshan's Deli, right? And to see what it has grown into. And one thing as a professional actor that I am so very pleased about is to see how many of the Live Theater League companies have started employing professional actors and spending that little bit of extra money, and believe me, it's a little bit. But what you do when you do hire a professional actor is you give them the opportunity not only to make a little bit of money, but to have the opportunity to get health insurance. And you know how times are, right? You have to have 20 weeks of covered insurance, of covered weeks, I should say, to get your insurance in Actors Equity. And I'm proud to say that through 2 members of the Live Theater League this year, I will be receiving 18 of those weeks from the Live Theater League. And I thank them very much for that. When I opened the letter that said I was going to receive this, I can tell you my exact words. They were, oh, Mother, read this. And that tells the whole story. Because not only was it totally unanticipated, it was something, like I said, when they started this, I thought, wouldn't that be neat one day to be mentioned with these people, my friends, my heroes? And I said, that would be a neat, neat thing someday. I didn't think it would come so fast. And I still think I'm a little young for this. But I want to tell you what makes it very special to me. Is because my mother is here to enjoy it with me. I wish Daddy was here. Everybody in the theater loved my father. because he would sit over at Casa Manana. He couldn't stand blocking rehearsals, but as soon as we got into working on the script and into run-throughs, he had his seat at the back of the theater and was there. But because of my parents and my mother, who has kept me employed since my father's passing through her cooking, you think I'm joking. When I returned to Casa Manana in 1991 to do the Best Little Whorehouse in Texas, Mother decided it would be nice for Tech Week to make some homemade peach ice cream because, as she said, the peaches are good this year. So we made a couple of freezers, and she also baked 2 cakes and brought them to the theater. I'll have you know that each season at Casa Manana, if I was not doing the entire season, you can bet your bottom dollar right about mid-July there was going to be a good part for David Coffey. And not only has she become famous here, but up at North Shore Music Theater, where I've had the great pleasure to play, this is my 19th season to go back there, she is famous for her white chocolate dipped cranberries, whole cranberries, a taste sensation that's sweeping the nation. And when they had that tribute evening for me that Harry mentioned a few years ago, I received a lot of lovely gifts and lovely letters from people. But one of the neatest things was my mother was there. And she came up on the stage and she spoke in a microphone to the audience. It was overwhelming. And they dedicated at the theater 2 seats, one for me and one for her. And today, this is Mother and Daddy's 69th wedding anniversary. Today. So that makes it very, very special. The other special thing I have to say, and people have already alluded to it, is my dear friend Bill Garber. When I walk into this theater, I remember the first time I came in this theater, I was in junior high. It was the first audition I'd ever gone to by myself, that Sharon or somebody had not, sent me along for the audition. And they were doing Starco. And there was a little item in I'm sure it was either Elston's or Perry's column, talking about they still needed some people for the company. So I came over, my parents drove me, we parked here in the loading dock, and I came in the stage door and they took me upstairs, and I met this gentleman named Bill Garber. And he said, well, what would you like to read? And I said, well, I really don't know. I don't know what you're doing and I don't know the shows, but I'm a character man. And he said, well, we're doing Three Penny Opera this year. Why don't you read Peachum? And he gave me the script, and I sat down and looked it over a few times, and then he asked me to read it, and I did. And he thanked me very graciously, and he said, I'm sorry I don't have anything just exactly right for you, but I sure hope you'll come back and audition for me again. And I said, thank you, out the door. Years later, my parents told me, as they were sitting out there in that parking lot, they had the windows rolled down, and they were in rehearsals. And some of the college kids were out there taking a break, and they overheard one of the guys come out and say, you better call so-and-so because there's a kid up there reading Peachum better than he's playing it. But I always loved Bill Garber because he didn't just shove me out the door and say, kid, we don't have anything for you. Years later, when they opened Bass Hall, Casa Manana's first production that they produced themselves was A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Forum. And as soon as I heard that, I gave my pal Joel Farrell the call, and I said, tell him that I would love to be involved in this any way I could because I adore that show, and I saw it when I was 10 years old, and I saw Sally Rand do her fan dance when she did it, so that really made an impression on a young boy. And I'd done it twice at Granbury, so I said, please put my name in. Well, he called me back in a few weeks, and he said, yes, we do want you to do the show. We want you to play Marcus Lycus, and then to understudy the lead, Pseudolus. And I was, a little dejected, but it's like, hey, I'm still part of the opening of a theater. What a neat thing. Because I'd helped open the Tarrant County Convention Center Theater, Yes, with that great classic, the new musical, The Big Thicket. That's right, you remember. Yes. And Bill Bill Garber, of course, had been involved in the opening of that theater. Of course, he was here for the opening of this one. And he called back a few weeks later and he said, well, we've got a cast now and we've got our star. And I said, oh, well, good. Who's it going to be? Tom Arnold. Well, I wasn't thrilled, but I said, once again, it'll be a great thing. But the good news was, he says, Bill Garber's going to play Erroneous. And I said, that is the neatest thing since sliced bread. Well, a month goes by. By this time, I'm doing Christmas Carol, and I get another call from Joel. He says, Tom Arnold's out. You're in. You're playing Pseudolus. I said, well, I knew we were bringing people in from California, New York. I said, I only have 2 requests. One, I do request the star dressing room, and I want to share it with Bill Garber. And I would give my left leg if I had had the presence of mind to set up some sort of recording device for that dressing room, because we had a ball. And I'll tell you, what was really neat is on this stage, we rehearsed A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Forum. We had our entire set up on this stage. And if you can imagine, what was more perfect for actors to have a chance to rehearse before they went to Bass Hall? It forced everyone to play up and out, and we were 9 steps ahead by the time we got downtown and walked on that beautiful stage. So I had a great time with Bill, and we were here also for his memorial, and I was so pleased to be able to do that. And he came up to me at one other show I have to throw in, was when we did Fiddler on the Roof at TCU, and we did it on this stage. And I was head of the box office assistantship. And I'm very proud and a little frightened to tell you that we also had our final performance. It was sold out, the run, and our final performance, we had 25 people sitting on the steps for our performance of Fiddler on the Roof. And Bill came backstage to me with tears in his eyes, and he said, damn you, you made me cry. And that's pretty much what y'all have done for me today. It's been a great pleasure. And I just have to say, you know, we are such stuff as dreams are made on, but this is not a dream. This is real, and it's all because of you, and I hope every one of you here has the opportunity to feel what I feel right now. Thank you so much.